This is the Faces of Small Business podcast, where we interview the CEOs that really matter and the community influencers who support small business. Recorded in the Strategy Leaders Water Street studio.
Thanks for coming in and talking with me today. So today we have Russ from OnSite Shredding. I'm going to let you do your own intro in a minute. But let me give you a little background as to why we're doing this. So the Faces of Small Business podcast came together because we noticed that all the CEOs of Apple and, Fortune 500 companies and things like that, they get all the press and everybody wants to know what makes them a leader and why they're so cool. But really, we all know that the economy runs on small business, privately held business. And so I said, why isn't anybody asking small business owners these same questions? Because that's what I really want to know. So here we are. So thanks again for coming in.
Sure.
So can you tell me a little bit about OnSite Shredding?
Sure. OnSite Shredding is primarily a mobile data destruction company. We started this in 2001. I did have a business partner that's no longer with us. But so we started in 2001, and what we do is we travel to and from local businesses, and we help them destroy any sensitive material that they may produce throughout the work week. So we have trucks that actually do the destruction on site for the businesses.
You must come across a lot of fun things.
We've seen some pretty interesting stuff.
I can only imagine. I think about what I throw out. I'm like,
Yeah.
Oh God, what if someone ripped through my trash? Not that I throw out crazy things, but you never know. So how many employees do you have and how many years have you been in business?
So again, we started in 2001. We've stayed pretty small. We like it that way. It's more manageable. So currently I have 5 employees, and then including myself, that does mostly kind of jack of all trade, everything. I can still drive the truck. I can still work the trucks. I can still lift boxes, so I'm not getting that old yet where I can't do that, although my body's feeling it. So we've stayed pretty small, only 5 employees again, and it's nice to have that kind of size right now, so I don't have to kind of babysit more employees.
Makes sense. And did you may have already covered this, but what's your coverage area?
So our main focus is on Fairfield County and Westchester County.
Okay.
That gives us a big enough opportunity for business. We don't really have to branch off too far. We used to service Manhattan and parts of, I guess they call it Metro New York, but it was getting a little bit too costly to do that. Travel time, tolls, taxes, fees. New York City has business integrity commissions that want money from you to do business in New York City. Mm-hmm. So we began to sell off our accounts in Manhattan and concentrate more on Fairfield County, Westchester County, which is easier to do.
Yep.
Working.
And we obviously used you guys when we moved from
Sure.
Stanford to Norwalk, and we've used you before. I can't say enough great things about how easy it is to use you and how fast you guys are in and out, just getting things out. Which is great. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I graduated Ithaca College with a degree in commercial recreation, which I can't even begin to explain what that could have turned into. But actually, I went into the marketing field from getting pushed into doing some event marketing from a friend who was in the business, and they needed extra people to run events in and out of different markets, New York metro market, San Francisco, pretty much all over the country, where they were doing special events for that organization. And from the marketing field, the event marketing field, I went into more of an account, kind of an executive type person, and worked on primarily the Diageo account, which is a large liquor.
We're familiar. They're right here in Norwalk.
So I worked on some launches for Diageo, which was pretty interesting. I liked the travel side of the marketing.
Yeah.
Once I got stuck in a desk, it kind of lost its lust for me. But So as I was in between jobs, my old business partner said to me one day, "Hey, take a look at these shred trucks." I said, "What are you talking about, shred trucks?" I never had heard anything about it. So apparently there was an article or an ad in Entrepreneur magazine, or a business magazine that he must have saw. So back when not many people had internet, it was still dial-up. So when I was renting a house in Stamford and, dialing up on my computer and looking online for manufacturers of whatever this shred truck thing that my old partner was calling, and actually found a few manufacturers.
Okay.
There happened to be a trade show in Atlanta, and I think him and I brought down like a $20,000 check, and we went for it. And the rest is history. After that, we purchased a truck and started from zero. And,
all right.
And now it's 19 years later.
That's great.
Crazy. So.
My last guest didn't like this one, and this was the one they were dreading. But if in one word, if you could describe yourself, what word would that be?
Ooh, well-rounded. That's
it has a hyphen in it, but I'll let it go as one word.
Well, that's one word. Sorry.
Okay. Do you want to explain that, or you just want to leave it?
Just because I like to do different things and learn about different things, I don't really like to bring too much of the work aspect home with me.
Okay.
I like to, I'm into, exercising, and I like to be outdoors, and I like to do things, outside with my kids. And I still like to learn about different businesses. I like to learn about how the world kind of works, and I like to learn about how money moves around in the market and how kind of businesses drive each other. Being a small business owner, maybe we don't have as much effect as the Amazons of the world, but it's interesting to see, what's going on in bigger businesses. Yeah. So you can learn from that.
That's true.
A little bit. So.
It's absolutely true. You touched on this a little bit, but what are you into outside of the office?
Again, I like to be outside, obviously, when the weather permits. I still like to jump on my mountain bike and just cruise around and, get some exercise that way. Actually, this is a good time because I'm going out to Denver tomorrow to visit my daughter who lives there. And so we're going to hopefully we'll get a few days snowboarding on the mountain I have 2 young boys. So.
Okay.
My wife does, she does snowboarding as well, too. So we'll all get out there on the mountain, and last week of the resorts being open.
Yeah.
Definitely like to travel. We have been fortunate enough to, go and see different things and go and see different countries and places. So we're headed to the Galapagos.
Wow.
In June.
Wow.
So my wife is Ecuadorian, so she has family there, and we kind of have a home base. So we're gonna go take a trip with the boys. And
wow, that's really cool.
Check it out.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, should be fun.
What are you hoping to achieve this year?
Again, another good time for me to be in here because we're actually in the process of starting kind of just a branch of what we do now. The OnSite Shredding has given us the opportunity to meet a lot of different potential clients for us, and quite a bit of our clients always ask us to remove different types of things, I guess.
I can imagine.
Not just sensitive information, but when businesses move, they do tend to acquire, or they don't want to move, let's say, tables, chairs, desks, filing cabinets, old things that they want to, kind of become new for them in their new space. So we're getting into kind of the junk removal business, just because we do get so many requests for what else do you take. So actually, we're in the midst of launching the business. Hopefully, it'll be up and running by this summer.
That's great. Congratulations.
Yeah, so that's kind of our goal, is to get that going for the year. Actually, that's the immediate goal.
That's exciting. So, what has your journey been like to get where you are now?
Interesting. learning everything, running a new business from day one. It's always, a different experience every day. I didn't go to school for business. So for me, it has been a learning experience. And even launching the new business has been a learning experience. How to go back and remember, like, how to file for a new LLC and how to file for a new tax ID number and how to open up a business account with the bank. I mean, you haven't had to do that in 20 years, so you have to relive what it was like. I couldn't remember where I even filed for the business license when we started back in 2001, so I was having to remember all that stuff. But it's been good. There's been good times, bad times. I mean, obviously, being your own business owner, everyone thinks that it's so easy, and I always tell people you have to remember that, you have to pay your employees first before you pay yourself, and that can take a while.
Yes.
But after, establishing the business and growing the business, it's given me the opportunity to have a little bit more freedom. So that's great. I can travel. I can spend time with my kids, go to their games after school, things of that nature. So it's been positive for the most part.
Good.
For sure.
Everybody has some sort of mentor in their life or a leader that they look up to.
Sure.
That's kind of shaped how they do things now.
Yeah.
Is there anyone in particular that stands out to you?
I immediately, when I thought of my father being a business owner himself, probably didn't get to spend enough time watching what he did and learning from him running his business. But he was pretty successful at the height of what he was doing. He was in the travel business for years. And I did get an opportunity to work with him for a year after I graduated college. And that was interesting. So it gave me a little sense of like the whole entrepreneur spirit. But, he was, successful at what he did. And they produced quite a, pretty good big experience for kids to go down and travel to Orlando, and they put on a really great presentation. The gist of it was he used to move large bands, choirs, marching bands, and dance groups down to Orlando from all over the country, and they used to put on a fantastic award ceremony. I always remember Universal Studios. They would have the Blues Brothers come out and dance around, and then they'd give out the awards. And it was cool to see. They're not doing the same as they were, but it was always great to kind of get that experience of seeing what they did firsthand. So
that sounds cool. Yeah. So you mentioned before about your business now gives you sort of the flexibility to go out and be with your family and take trips and basically do what you want. And I'm in a family business, so I have a similar setup here where, no one tracks, not that we really track any of our hours here, but we're pretty flexible. But I know that if I had to go work a regular, quote unquote, regular job, that I'd probably be a terrible employee. And most entrepreneurs tend to say that. So do you think that you would be a good employee somewhere else? And if you weren't at OnSite, what would you be doing?
So I think every business owner has, as you said, in the back of their mind, what would I be doing if I wasn't doing what I'm currently doing? And could I go back to the corporate field and go work for someone else? I think that would be a really tough transition just because you're so used to making either the final decisions or the majority of the decisions that kind of, make the business flow, I guess.
Yeah.
So would I be a good employee? I probably would be a good soldier, but it would be tough to take directions from someone else. I would probably try and mold it into as, maybe let's gather our own ideas together instead of, just listening to your boss's idea. Oh man, at this stage of my life, if I wasn't doing what I was doing, I probably would want to just be like a ski instructor or a snowboard instructor somewhere in some beautiful place that you could wake up and not have to be sitting in an office or dealing with, sorry for all my customers, dealing with customers on a daily basis.
Fair enough. Life is all about learning.
Sure.
Especially as business owner. Every day could be something new. How do you best learn new things?
For me, it's probably more on the tech side, just because I tend to get sleepy when I read. So reading for me at night or after work, articles or news articles or things that I have interest in is more on the technology side. Unfortunately, it's probably not the best for you in terms of your eyesight and your brain function, but that's the way that I pick up different things. I subscribe to different things, whether it's on my news feed, again on phones, computers, things of that nature. I can also learn things from, I guess, other people that are in the same industry as me if I really wanted to reach out. It's kind of a small industry in itself, so a lot of the small business owners that do what we do kind of bounce ideas off of each other, and they're pretty open to suggestions and giving advice.
Yeah.
At this stage, I feel like I can probably be a consultant almost. If somebody were to want to start this type of business. I had a trip down to North Carolina. I was telling you when I was there, because we were started launching a new business, and these guys were pretty young guys that were consulting on the junk hauling, and I was like, I could do this. I could do this for my industry. So yeah.
Does your industry have a peer group, a benchmarking group, or a trade show or anything like that?
So actually it's going on this week in Colorado, which is ironic. I'm going out there, but it's this past week, so I couldn't do both. But it's the National Association for Information Destruction. There's probably others, but that's the main one for us. And they do a show every year, and people go out there. It sounds so aggressive. So people go out there, and they can shop around for different things and different equipment, and it's a big trade show. Plus they have the sit-in,
educational
sit-in. But because I'm at the stage of where I am, I don't necessarily need to go, because if it's not something that's specific that for me to go and learn, I've been doing it a while, so we kind of have our ways of how we do things. There is such a thing called Shred School, which I did long ago in South Carolina. They had a school. And I think they still run it, but actually the association runs it now. It's not privately run. So this is for beginning, shredders. They can go and learn at Shred School.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
When you find that you have something new to learn, what do you find is the hardest to come up with? Time, money, or effort?
For me right now, probably time. Because I get pulled in a lot of different directions.
Yep.
Sometimes it's hard to manage the work schedule with the family schedule, with dealing with the employee schedule, just being there.
Yeah.
I always, I do my best to be involved, day-to-day operations. But again, things pull me in different directions. And as people in your family also get older, you have to spend time with them. Yes. So that always throws a kink into it. You want to kind of enjoy those golden years with your older family members. So being out of the office is tough, because your employees see that you're not there, so it's hard to manage that sometimes.
I can imagine. I mean, I understand, but I can also when you are kind of pulled in all different directions, it can sometimes be hard to really focus on building yourself or growing yourself. So what are you doing to make sure that you're still growing and learning as a leader?
Oh boy, that's tough, because you get into kind of the same routine every day. So to think about those things and to think about yourself growing, not just as a leader, but as a person, it's tough, because you don't realize that, you have to become better. You have to become a better boss, a better, friend, a better husband, a better father. It's juggling. I mean, we have, I try and keep the environment in the business, very comfortable to work in. I don't like, the worst thing for me is the confrontation and confrontation with employees, confrontation with clients, and that's one thing that I need to work on still. So that's probably my biggest fault, is just trying to be better at learning how to communicate with
Okay.
employees and clients, and because I like everyone to be happy and be satisfied in a great work environment. But that's not always the case. So, but that's a good question. It's I don't know the right answer for becoming better. Growing and learning probably just goes back to trying to educate yourself on things that you're interested in.
Yeah. What are some of the core values for OnSite Shredding?
We've always said that we just want to be the best at what we do. We didn't want to grow into other things that we weren't as comfortable doing. The service, the personal service, is really something that we like to pride ourselves on, because we are, a small business.
Yep.
We're not huge corporate. You call, you get somebody on the phone. If there's an issue, you can always speak to the owner. So that's really the core value of just being a small business in general, is just, the whole customer service orientated and just being there for your clients. If you do it well, they'll stay with you.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep. So how do you encourage and teach the other people on your team to communicate those values and really embrace them?
Having employees, especially out in the field, you always want to stress that they're the face of the company, because you're not always there to be the face of the company. So it's difficult sometimes, because everybody's going to have a bad day or a bad morning, and it's hard for everyone to keep a smile on their face if they're not having a great day.
Definitely.
So we understand that. But again, I always tell them that, the client is typically right. You want to make sure that, that they understand that the client is paying for the service. So please be as polite and cordial as possible, and stress that, you don't want to make a bad impression, because it just looks bad on the company in general. So.
Yeah. And where do the great ideas come from within your organization?
I guess because we are small, I try and bounce ideas off of some of the employees that are available to do that with.
Yeah.
I don't currently have a peer group that I meet with. I used to do that, but again, the time issue.
Yeah.
When I'm out of the office, it's hard to dedicate that time to those peer groups if they're meeting at a certain point. But really just internal ideas. I have a manager that I have pretty good faith in that I can get along with, and we bounce ideas off of each other from there. It's really just two of us, actually.
What is one characteristic that you think every leader should possess or work on developing?
Communication is huge. If you're not communicating with your employees, it becomes kind of, people start to talk either about you behind your back. You really want to have open lines of communication. If there's issues, please have them come directly to you. Don't talk to other employees about it, because what happens is that just spreads into them having influences on others. Mm-hmm. So you always hear about sports teams and big, in the locker room, and having a cancer in the locker room. It can take one person and it just spreads.
Absolutely.
So again, and I always have to work on that too, is just communicating, because if everybody knows what's going on and everybody knows what you're trying to do and your goals and trying to develop the business, trying to go certain places with the business, then they'll be on board more than not being on board.
That's great advice. Yeah. Definitely agree with that. What do you think is the biggest challenge facing entrepreneurs today?
I always think of businesses that may be available to start. I mean, my door is always open for new things.
Yeah.
It's good to be able to have that mindset of, oh, hey, why don't we do this? Or, hey, why don't we start this business? But I think the challenge is just that there's so many people doing it already. Mm-hmm. I would hate to start this business right now.
Yeah.
Just because I think the effort to gain clientele would be so much harder, because when I started, there weren't many people doing it. And we're only going back, 19 years.
Yeah.
So any business that you're looking to get into, there's somebody doing it. That's the most difficult part.
Yeah.
There's nothing that's new and innovative and somebody hasn't thought of, because you start to look and you start to research and you're like, oh, somebody's doing it already.
Yeah.
Gee.
So then it comes down to, should I do this or how do I do it better?
Correct.
Yeah. And those are completely different.
Or you can just compete in the marketplace with the other people, which is, there's always room for that. But again, it takes a lot of hard work.
Yes.
And time. Yeah. And you're married to it. And
yes.
You have to nurture it. These aren't hobbies that
They're
we
not
do.
Hobbies, no. Any advice for someone who is taking on a leadership role for the first time?
Oh my goodness.
Outside of communication.
I guess I would just say stay strong to your own values, taking away the communication part of it. Set your mind to what you want and what you want to do, and don't let other, outside influences stop what you really want to accomplish.
That's good advice. Unless you're a monster.
Hmm.
I mean, have morals. But
yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah, of course.
So we all get stressed. Running a business isn't, just rainbows. So how do you push through and handle your stressful times?
If you can take breaks, just kind of get away for a few minutes. That really helps. It's kind of cliche of the whole, meditate and breathe. And, I have like an innate ability. Everyone always gets frustrated with me because they're like, how do you do this? You're so laid back. I don't understand. How are you not getting aggravated? And I'm like, look, it's just work. We'll get through it. Mm-hmm. Problems can always be solved.
Yep.
They don't always have to be solved with stress or with yelling and screaming or, harsh reactions. So if you can just stay calm and really just kind of focus and really think about what you need to do to get through those times, it will happen. I've been there for sure.
I always say I can't manage how other people are going to react to things, but I can manage my own emotions.
Correct.
And so I just try to control my emotions in stressful situations and hope that sort of replicates to other people when they see, oh, well, she's calm about it, so why am I getting upset?
I think it does, but I think also when people see that, they do kind of get frustrated because how are you so calm? Yeah. You're not as wound up as they are. So.
So what's your morning routine before you get into the office?
So actually, it's funny because I tell people that I have a set routine. It's almost every day. So I get up. I actually have two boys that I get ready for school.
Okay.
What I do is I get up, I usually have coffee or tea, and then I kind of get them going and get breakfast going for them. We walk our dog to the bus stop, and then after that, it's done for me, and then I get to the office. So I have kind of a set time frame that I have to be up by a certain time, take a shower. I don't really watch TV in the morning. It's kind of a distraction, especially for the kids.
Yeah.
So if they have to finish up any homework that they have or anything like that, we do that in the morning. And then again, it's pretty quiet and simple, and then start the workday.
All right. Sounds nice. This is kind of a funny question. How many messages are in your inbox right now, and then how do you manage your emails?
So voicemails
Email
or
box,
email box. Yeah. Emails for me, I check very, very often. I'm always very quick to respond. I don't really let emails sit in my inbox for very long. Whether I have my cell phone, my computer, wherever I am, I always try and get back to people as soon as I can, even when I'm traveling.
Yeah.
I don't let them sit unless they're kind of junk and I can get back to them at another date. But if I had to count, I think I even show 100 emails that are still not opened in my inbox, but those would be some that are probably non-important to my day-to-day business.
We had the last people here were Will and Nate from Kelly's 4 Plus Granola. They're here in Norwalk. And I asked the same question, and I can't remember who it was, but I think Nate said, I have multiple hundreds of unread emails, and then Will was like, I don't know how you do that. I can't leave any of my emails unread.
Yeah, some people, it's when they see it, it's like their nature to just, I have to open it. I look through it periodically, even when I know that they're junk, and then I'll just scan through and delete them.
Yeah.
Periodically, I also go through and try and get rid of old emails that have been read but just sit there.
Yeah. And then you mentioned as you were walking in here that you listen to podcasts. Do you have any books or podcast recommendations for entrepreneurs and business owners?
I have to remember the guy's name. I probably have it sitting here. Where is somebody actually recommended this. This is this guy. The MFCEO project.
Okay.
I've listened to a few of those. I can't remember who runs it. But I also listen to, this one's the most popular one, Joe Rogan's podcast.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of people do. But, he has an eclectic variety of interesting guests. So it's fun when you get, the comedians, but then you also get like the neuro, scientists, and you're like, holy cow. So it's fun. It's fun to learn about that. And they have so many different people on that one.
Yeah.
But again, finding the time.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they're an hour or too long.
Yeah.
So it's also finding the time to listen to those.
Yeah, absolutely. So where can people, that's all the questions I have for you, really.
Okay.
Where can people find you and learn more about your company?
So we've had a website, obviously, since we started. And, we have a good presence online. We also are running a little brief commercial on, News Channel 12 and some of the financial stations in between, when the people talk about the market.
Yeah.
So that kind of ties into what we do. So we're on there. That's pretty much it. We have a Facebook page. I believe we have an Instagram page.
Okay.
I don't check it as much as I probably should, but we definitely have a good social media presence. So we do post different things that we're doing online through our website and through social media. We do run shred events throughout the month, all the way up until the fall. Right now, I think we're booked, or midsummer, and then it gears up again in the fall. So people love those because they can come out and shred their stuff.
Yeah.
And they just have to check online on our website, and there are events throughout probably the year that people hire us to do. So.
All right. I guess should do some slow-mo videos of shredding, like shredding in action. I'm that weird person. I would watch it.
I get it. I get it. When you've seen it a million times, it's not that fun for me. But when there's actually video monitors on the outside of the trucks. So when we do go to certain people's homes, or, they sit there and they're like mesmerized by the shredding video. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, see?
But it's
exciting.
Fun. Yeah. It's fun.
So thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you.
I probably not, but if you have any questions for me, I'll answer them. Otherwise, that's it for today.
Well, I could answer. You can answer all these questions for me, but we don't want to go through all that.
I don't think anybody wants to know the information. It's probably all on my social media.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you.
It's fun.
Thanks for listening to Faces of Small Business. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram to keep up to date with the latest recordings. 3 out of 4 businesses fail in every 10-year cycle. Let's break that statistic. Support your local businesses. They are the true backbone of this economy. If you're interested to learn more about our home base here at Strategy Leaders, head over to strategyleaders.com.